Welcome to the Tipsy Tennis Podcast, U.S. Open edition. I'm at the qualies today. I'm here with Parker. He is all good.
No worries.
So we're filming it. This is a very laid-back approach to it. I mean, we got some matches going on. This is the second round of qualies. Martyr is playing right over here. We got
Sabine,
some names I can't pronounce. I'm not going to even try
Yeah.
whatever. But today I'm going to be talking with Parker. So Parker works for the ESPN side of things for the U.S. Open. He's a fiber tech
camera operator.
He's going to talk about it, but he also has his own Instagram page called Behind the Broadcast, where they show
all the behind the scenes,
behind the broadcast. So
how the magic behind TV, how sports or how broadcast is made behind sports. So
yeah.
A lot of people just think you plug it. A lot of people just think you plug in a camera and you get TV. And there's so much more that goes on with that. And so my page is to try and explain a little bit about that TV magic and help people have a better understanding and give them an alleyway or open the door for them if they want to get into TV and broadcasting for ESPN, NBC, CBS, stuff like that.
So how many years have you worked at the U.S. Open?
So this is my 8th year at the U.S. Open. I started as what they call in TV a PA, but we call them runners in live sports. So I started as a runner. I did running for like 1 or 2 years, and then I became a utility. A utility is the guy that is behind the camera and he wraps the cable behind the camera. From utility, I became a camera operator. And
so camera operator, is that the guy who goes on court?
Yeah, so the camera operator is the guy who has the camera on his shoulder. He's on court filming the players, walking them off, walking them on.
So who are some players that you're good?
Oh, I've shot every biggest player.
Yeah?
Yeah, Djokovic, Nadal, Federer. I got Alcaraz right when he was coming up as a big player. I think it was here at the U.S. Open where I think he made it to the semifinals or quarterfinals in one of his first years, and I was covering that whole thing. Osaka, I saw her whole whole rise.
Who's one player that you've seen on TV, but then when you saw them in person, maybe they didn't look like how they necessarily look like in TV. You know what I mean? They look bigger or something like that.
That's interesting. I mean, you see Serena, and you see how built she is, on TV, but you see her in person, and dude, she is you don't want to mess with her. Yeah, you don't want to mess with Serena. It's too bad that she's not going to be here this year, obviously, because she retired. But
all good.
No, don't worry. But the star power that she brought to the U.S. Open, and all the celebrities that would come, was huge. But yeah, Serena was definitely one of those people where you're like, oh man, you put her in football pads, she'd do fine. You know what I mean?
I got you. So what? You travel around the world.
Yeah.
Doing this, right?
Yeah.
So are there any other tennis tournaments you've covered?
Yeah, so I've kind of stopped doing the world travel just because it's just hard to be on the other side of the country, and I've got a wife, and when you're waking up, she's going to bed. When you're going to bed, she's waking up, and I didn't really like it, but I have been to Roland Garros. I did Roland Garros in 2021, I believe. I've been to Rome. That I think it was in 2021. I've done Palm Springs, which is my favorite tournament of them all.
Nice.
If you ever get a chance to go to Palm Springs, go to that tournament.
What's so good about Palm Springs?
Dude, they call it tennis paradise, and it for a reason, because it's just beautiful weather. You're in Cali. If you don't know, it's pretty close to where Coachella is. It's about 15 minutes from Coachella.
No, Indian Wells, right?
Yeah, Indian Wells, exactly, Indian Wells. Yeah, the weather is just beautiful weather. It's laid back, it's clean. You're not in New York City, we're in New York, but everyone's the glamour of New York.
Oh, Martyr just lost.
Oh, she did.
No, he did.
Or he did. Oh, I don't know tennis. See, that's one thing. I work all these events. It's a job for me, right? So I don't stay too much into the players. However, there's a player right behind us, and it's a European company, and they're sponsoring all their players. The players that are sponsored by that company are all wearing that outfit uniform.
Yeah.
And it's the same exact thing as the color bars.
That's so funny.
And so Behind the Broadcast is now worldwide, and it reaches almost up to 200,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
And so I've been getting DMs of people watching tennis,
They're
and they're sending me pictures of these girls, in wearing the color bars, and they're all saying like, "You should go out and sponsor them. You should go out and sponsor them."
Stuff that get them. You were talking about starting a podcast as well.
Yeah.
So maybe you can throw some pros like that.
Exactly.
Get it. So you mentioned you got 200,000 followers, which is that's a lot of followers.
Yeah.
Tell us more about like Behind the Broadcast. Like, how did it get started? Are you one of the co-founders?
Sure.
And
Yeah,
like
I am.
The journey and like the crazy things you've seen going through it.
Totally. So Behind the Broadcast started as a small little page during COVID called Sports with No Fans. And it started out, you said you were a ball boy, right?
Yes.
So in 2020, I was a utility on Ashe. I was like the main utility on Arthur Ashe, and I was doing the finals. And I remember sitting in giant Arthur Ashe Stadium, and it was just me, a cameraman, and a couple cameramen, and the players playing. It was empty, it was quiet, and I'm looking around and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, we're living in an era where there's sports with no fans, and it was almost a joke to me. And so then I started this Instagram page called Sports with No Fans, showing what it was like to be in these arenas during COVID. When there weren't any fans around, so people could kind of see what was going on, like the cardboard cutouts. Everyone kind of remembers cardboard cutouts that were in the stands.
Yeah, that was.
You know what I mean?
At some point, they were selling virtual seats, so they'd put a little TV on it and paid.
Exactly. So that was Sports with No Fans, and then the fans came back, right? And then I was thinking, what can I transition this page to? All my following is already people in TV. So then I changed it to Behind the Broadcast. And I had a video of a cameraman kind of working. He was using what we call a crank zoom, and he was shooting the three-point contest at NBA All-Stars. And that video got shared by SportsCenter, House of Highlights, ESPN.
Nice.
All these different pages, and like overnight, like my page went from like 4,000 followers to like 17,000 followers.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then after that,
like I finally, like, I was about to stop. I kept telling myself like, all right, 5,000 followers, I'm done, 5,000 followers. And then after that big hit of 17,000, then I was like remotivated, and then I just started like finding out the trends and seeing what my following was liking, and understanding, kind of when to post, where to post, what to post. And then, dude, it just kind of like a snowball, just kind of gets bigger and bigger. The more followers you get, the more posts you send, the more shares you can get, the more followers you get, and it just continues to grow like that. And so, yeah, that was 2020, so we're coming up on like 3 years pretty much.
Who's we?
Oh, I say we. You're right. It's me.
It's just you?
I say we to, maybe I shouldn't say this, but yeah, I say we to like make it sound bigger than it is.
I do the same thing. This thing is a one-man show.
Yeah, it's a one-man show, yeah.
I bring people on, but here's the thing, it's good that you're also saying we, because at the end of the day, I think even if you are doing something alone, to be successful in anything, you need to be a people person. You got to work together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, even though you're hopping in for one episode, you've helped me grow my brand and also spread your voice. And then hopefully when you get your podcast started,
sure,
I'll do an episode on yours, and then I'll be doing some crazy stuff by then.
100%. I'd love to get some. I know it's starting to rain, kind of good, but I'd love to get some of this. I'm sure you're going to take this footage back and edit it and whatnot.
Yep.
I'm love to post it on Behind the Broadcast and then try and get some of those followers to come to Tipsy Tennis,
Same way to you.
So,
same way to you.
I mean, that was pretty cool. When I first saw you and we were walking down, because this is how we met, just by complete, like, running into each other, just walking on the grounds, and I really liked your shirts. Your shirts caught my eye.
We're going to keep talking. We're going to keep rolling.
Yeah, your shirts caught my eye, and then I was like, oh, what is Tipsy Tennis? And then you're like, oh, I have a page behind, and so dude, that was then we made it happen. So
All right,
that's it.
yeah, we're gonna do a vlog style now. We're not podcasting, we're vlogcasting.
Okay.
Let's finish this under a tree. So behind the podcast, behind the podcast,
Yeah. So it
Tipsy
would
Tennis broadcast
be. Yeah.
at the U.S. Open rain delay.
Classic.
Welcome. So, what's your favorite part about what you do?
Oh, my favorite part is the atmosphere of like going to these big events and then just feeling, you know, the crowd, the energy, the noise. That's really what drives me because, you know, I played sports my whole life. I was baseball, football, and you know, I just love like, you know, the national anthems, or I love like, you know, a game-winning catch, or you know, or a home run. You know what I mean? So that's really what kind of keeps the passion. Is I love sports, and so I just like being out here. I don't like.
Do you play any sports?
Not
Growing up?
Yeah, growing up I was football, baseball.
Nice. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Park City, Utah.
Park City, Utah.
You ever heard of that?
You ski or snowboard?
Yeah, snowboard.
You snowboard, me
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
I'm trying to make it out west this season.
yeah. Best snow on earth, man.
Are you a good snowboarder?
I used to be good. I don't go as much anymore, but I mean, to the average person, I'm really good. Like to my standards, I'm not good compared to what I used to be.
So where do you work?
Where do I work?
Yeah,
I work
Give
on.
us
I work everywhere.
where's your main office?
I don't have an office. I'm like a self-employed, basically.
No, I mean
Where?
like around the grounds.
Oh, on the grounds.
Yeah.
On the other side of Arthur Ashe.
Can we get in?
Unfortunately, we can't get in. No, it's locked down. You have to have a certain credential.
I'm gonna definitely have a media pass next year for sure.
Yeah, I believe it, man. I mean, keep
tennis
you know,
on the way
keep
out.
hustling and keep talking to the right people.
Heineken Silver, Heineken's light beer.
Heineken, we would like a check.
Heineken, please sponsor me. You don't even need to pay me. I'll just take free beer and promote you. I'm really easy to please. So, how well do you know the grounds?
I know them like the back of my hand.
Really?
I've been here for 44 days.
Damn, every
Yeah.
day?
Every day, no days off. We work like 14-hour days pretty much because we're like the head of all technical stuff comes down to me and like 3 other people.
Nice.
And so
That's a lot of work. You don't get burned out?
you definitely get burned out, but the money and the overtime is pretty good. So
And then,
yeah.
all right. And so do you work? So you work with ESPN, but
Yeah,
you don't
so-
work for them, right?
So I am a W-2 employee with ESPN, but I'm not a salary guy. So I have the opportunity to like go work for NBC, CBS, TNT, whatever it is. So yeah, in this instance, I'm working for ESPN. You want to walk this way?
Yeah, let's go check out the practice courts.
Yeah, let's go to practice courts. So yeah, so my job basically here is to make sure there's connectivity for all the cameras, all the monitors, all the there's like a giant like secure network that we run make sure all the fiber is connected to. There is all the audio equipment. It's crazy. I mean, it takes 20 days to set it up for a reason because like the US Open is unlike anything else because like think of a basketball game or a football game. You're covering one game. US Open, you're covering
20 courts
yeah, all at the same time.
at the same time for 3 weeks.
Exactly.
That's a player. Who is that? Artango. We'll figure it out later. So we are standing in front of the practice courts. These are practice courts. No matches are usually played here. You got the ESPN booth where they do most of a lot of the interviews that you see on like Tennis Channel, and I mean obviously ESPN.
ESPN, yeah.
I think only ESPN has the exclusive rights to U.S. Open, right?
I think they do.
So
yeah.
why don't actually that's a very interesting topic that I think you might have some expertise to kind of like teach us about. So I remember like back in the day, it was always like Tennis Channel had everything, and then NBC would have the finals. Of all the tournaments. And then now it's been jumping around. ESPN has jumped in there. Tennis TV does everything except Grand Slams.
Yeah.
What else do you know about like the industry that the public might not know?
So again, like I'm on the technical side, but from the information that I received from just talks around the grounds and how things work, there's like bidding wars basically. So before ESPN, CBS had the U.S. Open of tennis, and then ESPN outbid them to have it for 10 years. So I believe they had it from 2015 to 2025.
10 years.
So that contract is coming up for a whole new renewal, and there's still talks of they don't know who's gonna take it, for the next 10 years.
Tipsy Tennis. How much money do you think I would need to start a network and be able to bid for exclusive U.S. Open rights, streaming rights?
Oh man, hundreds of millions of
probably billions.
Yeah,
to be honest.
billions. Yeah. I think you should go find some Saudi investors if you want to do that.
How much do the cameras cost?
Great question. So the average broadcast camera costs anywhere from about $100,000 to $200,000.
Damn.
Yeah. So
what makes them so expensive?
Just its capabilities. It's completely different than like a cinematic camera. There obviously are much more expensive cinematic cameras that can shoot in different frame rates and that can handle different bandwidths and stuff like that. But a broadcast camera it's the camera head that's capable of handling everything that goes on the inside of the broadcast. And then it's also the lens. The lenses are very expensive. Like,
Like the glass?
Yeah, the glass.
making.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess back there is kind of a bad example of it, but if you go into like any stadium, you'll see the cameras with like the big box lenses. So those lenses can range anywhere from 100 to like 200 grand, just that alone. So when you add that lens with a head that's worth 80 to 100 grand plus, a tripod, all the controls. I mean, you're looking at like a $300,000 setup, basically, on the nicer cameras.
Damn.
Yeah.
I think I probably spent about like $500 on this podcast in the last 12 months.
Nice. Hey, that's good.
I bought these mics somewhat recently. This is like the first like major expense.
Nah, it's a good investment.
These were a pretty penny.
Yeah, audio is super important. I mean, especially when you're doing a podcast, because you have shitty audio, you're gonna lose the interest of your audience immediately.
Yeah.
One of your stickers it's up in the ESPN building, slapped on one of the walls in there.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll send you a picture of it.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. Yeah, I've been giving them around. I had some guy, he slapped it on like the ceiling of some place, so nobody's gonna get it.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah,
we just started like a sticker wall this last year, and I was like, this is perfectly.
This is
going on the sticker wall.
Have you ever met John McEnroe?
I met John. Yeah, I met John. Oh, I got a good story. This is kind of embarrassing. It's definitely embarrassing. So, my very first ever tennis gig was Indian Wells, Palm Springs, Paribas, whatever.
BNP Paribas.
Yeah,
Open.
BNP Paribas Open. And this lady's gonna stand right in the middle. So I'm just a PA runner. This is about like 8 years ago or so. I don't know shit about tennis. And I get asked to pick up Chris Everett and take her from take her from like the broadcast booth or something to her car and drive her to the hotel. And at this time I've driven many people like Randy Moss, like a bunch of Monday Night Football people.
Oh shit.
And I had no idea who Chris Everett was. And I asked her, so So were you a tennis pro, or are you like more of like a, like a
Media.
media analyst, and there was a person in the back that just started laughing. I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. You walk into our hotel, there's like a 40-foot poster of Chris Everett swinging a tennis racket. And the guy who was in the back goes, see that poster? That's who you asked, wasn't it? if they played tennis. I was like, oh man. I was like, I know a lot about sports. Tennis, I didn't know anything.
Wait, so how did she react when you asked her that?
She was just like really like nice like about it. She's
Yeah?
like, yeah, I was pretty good.
I
Like
feel
so like nonchalant, like
that's so cool.
yeah.
I feel like because like listen, there are plenty of like basketball players or football players or soccer, like plenty of athletes that like are very like famous, but I just don't know.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you don't know, and
No,
I feel
yeah.
like for them it's like maybe a bit of like a relief. It's like, okay, thank God this person doesn't know me. So it's like oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean?
exactly,
Instead
yeah.
of like somebody like fangirling.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I probably agree with that. Yeah, it's probably a nice change of pace for them.
Has there ever been a time where you were a camera operator where you saw somebody and you were like nervous? Like, were you nervous seeing Federer?
The very first time, yeah, was it had to have been Federer. Yeah, I was walking him down, like this, and I do remember that. I was like, don't mess this up, don't mess this up, don't mess this up. Don't trip, don't like. I was luckily on the RF camera, so that's like the wireless cameras. RF stands for radio frequency.
Not Roger Federer.
And Roger Federer. Yeah, so I didn't have a cable behind me, but there's just when you've got a player like Roger Federer, Alcaraz, Nadal, there's like a mass amount of people around.
Yeah.
And usually the TV guy has the rights. So you're like right in front of everyone, like walking him back, and then there's like a crowd of people, and like it's so easy to like step on someone's feet so I was pretty nervous, and that was like right when I was starting to become a tennis cameraman. That was still to this day one of my biggest moments. And then I did a bunch of like shooting Nadal and Joker at Roland Garros. But yeah, it was fed in Paribas.
Have you ever made any mistakes? Like
On-air
have you ever fumbled?
mistakes.
Do they cut it out if you do, or do they keep it rolling? I guess it's
So
wait, actually,
Yeah, that's a good
how
question.
live is live?
100% live.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you just saying that?
No, it's 100% live. I mean, so the delay.
It's got to be like at least 5 seconds, 10 seconds.
So from when it gets to your house, depending on what system you're getting your stuff from, is it a cable box? Is it satellite TV? Is it straight fiber from
Streaming,
like
internet,
streaming? Yeah, 'cause nowadays streaming
browser.
that's the fastest actually. It used to be like the slowest, or on your phone or whatever. Yeah, it's within a 5-second time span.
Wow. So you're telling me if I streak, people will see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna run and like I'm gonna be wearing like.
But here's the thing, is so let's say Ash, right? There's like 20 cameras, or there's more than 20 cameras. Let's just say there's 20 cameras for all intents and purposes. So if there's a streaker or something, we're taught not to shoot the streaker, number one, and number two, the director is watching all these cameras live, and so he can take whatever camera is live, if that makes sense.
And he can I see. So if they see it in one camera, that camera may be capturing it, but it's not the one that's on the main screen at the moment.
Right.
And so it just kind of like.
So then the director can go to the one that's not showing the streaker. But, you might get on for a couple seconds and then he'll take it away.
Here's the thing though, in this day and age, you got everybody's phones.
Yeah.
And so, nothing goes unseen.
No,
at
you
some
will
point.
you'll go viral immediately, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Maybe not on ESPN, but you'll be somewhere. So here at the US Open, we have well over probably over 100 cameras around the grounds.
Only?
Only.
I'd guess 200. I feel like 3 cameras per court.
Maybe for so there's
3 cameras times 20. I guess that's 60, and then
all the extra
the
ones.
stadiums
Yeah.
probably have more, and then some courts have a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, no. 100 sounds about right.
Yeah, 100. It's around 100, I believe.
So 100 times 200,000
For what?
at least.
Oh God, yeah.
$200,000.
Oh, yeah. The money is like.
That's what, 200 million.
The money is disgusting.
Damn.
Yeah, and then they complain about us having overtime. I'm like, all right, maybe take one of your 100 cameras off the ground and and pay me a little bit more money.
So the U.S. Open doesn't own any of it. Everything's basically contracted out to these other companies.
Yeah. So the USTA,
USTA.
they contracted out to ESPN, and then ESPN has the broadcasting rights, and then ESPN will bring in another company called Gravity Media, and they'll handle a lot of like the technical stuff, the broadcast stuff. They'll bring in all their own equipment. They'll bring in like all the software, all the systems that run a broadcast.
I'm trying to figure out who's here. I don't know these. Somebody they walked on. That's why I came here, because the practice courts are the first courts that are going to get played on before match.
Right.
They're going to wait until the
What time do you come here in the morning? Are you first one in?
Me?
Yeah.
Today? No, I came late. I had to pick my car from the mechanic. It was
Dang.
yeah, it was a bit of a late start.
Good morning.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm leaving early though. I'm going to a tennis event later.
You live tennis, live, breathe.
Yeah, Racket Mag is hosting an event during like this week.
Yeah.
And I RSVP'd, and I'm going, and I'm going to see some players tonight.
Yeah, nice.
Maybe have a drink with a couple of them.
Yeah, you should.
That's the goal. That's what.
So that's the thing. Who's the coolest player you've had a drink with? Or biggest player, well-known player?
So this is a story that I haven't told really anybody.
Really? Do you want to do
Yeah,
it with me
I
here?
can tell. Yeah. I just do. I keep things on the down low. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I had to, because I wanted to respect this player's privacy.
Yeah.
But this is I think it's been long enough. So last year, I had a mutual friend with Nick Kyrgios.
Oh.
And so
The bad boy himself.
I met him at a club at Harbor in the city on on the west side. I think like 59th Street or something like that.
Sure.
And so, but here's the thing. So I wasn't part of the party, but like, I came to say hi.
Yeah.
But you needed a VIP bracelet to get in.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't have one. And I was like standing by the door, and I stole one from behind the desk. And then went up to the club to go see Kyrgios.
That's so sick.
And I remember I'm walking in, and I'm wearing these shoes. I'm wearing my Jordans.
Yeah.
I walk up. They're at a table. It's like a couch, like U shape with a table in it. And I see him, and he stands up. He bends down, fixes the tongues on my Jordans, and then puts his hand out, and he's like, "Yo, I'm Nick." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" So these shoes have been touched.
Those are the lucky shoes.
These are the lucky shoes. These are the lucky J's. Kyrgios touched these shoes.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah, no, I found out about it, and I went to go check it out. And I was hanging out with him. I was literally I was sitting here. He was sitting right here, and we're just chatting.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like he's like, I'm like, yeah, I'm from New York, and he's like, yeah, I'm from Australia. I'm like,
so you were kind of like downplaying that you like knew exactly who he was.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of talking to him. He didn't know. I mean, he assumed, because I feel like most people are like, yo, can you get a photo? They're like, they don't. They're like, oh, yo, nice to meet you, Nick, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I never asked for stuff. I was just like, because I already know, and I was,
yeah,
you got to be chill with these guys, so
totally,
because that's what they want to hang out with. It's Thiago Monteiro. He's a Brazilian player. He lost.
He lost?
He lost yesterday. He lost on 2 days ago or something.
So if he lost, how did he?
I was there, bro. He lost. I think it was like 11-9 in a third set tiebreaker.
Really?
All right. Well, it's raining pretty hard.
Yeah, man, this has been a great interview. I'm super happy we ran into each other. I can't wait to see some of what we just talked about.
Yeah, we got some good stuff over here. You know, you want to get another. Are you? What's your work schedule like? Are you going back?
No, yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm here all week. But if you want to keep going, we can keep going. So we're still rolling, right?
What?
We're still rolling.
Yep.
So it's so cool. I mean, you've been here actually before.
I grew up here. I used to play in the indoor center as well, so I've been here since I was like 10 years old.
Okay, yeah.
15
so
years.
when the night session becomes the day session, and then like there's so many people out here on this concourse, and it's like shoulder to shoulder with like thousands of people out here, and everybody's up here watching the big screens.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this year's main draw is about to go hard.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna go harder than any other year before.
Well, because they're they're trying so hard to hype it up. Like ESPN, USTA, they are putting in so much money this year and time to try and hype it up, and I think it's because they realize like they've lost Serena, so they've lost like their like star factor pretty much.
Yeah, and also
so now they're trying to blow up guys like Tiafoe and Alcaraz and.
Because back then, tickets used to sell themselves because everybody wanted to see Nadal, Djokovic, Federer.
Yeah.
Now it's like
the kids are out.
People are willing. Like, people want to see Alcaraz, but like not nearly as badly as these other guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Still the only other, and then also Kyrgios isn't playing.
Yeah.
Kyrgios is always.
So is Kyrgios hurt or?
Yeah, he's injured.
Or did he not qualify or something?
Nah, he's injured. He's injured. But
is it still the same injury that he's been battling with since Wimbledon, right?
Yeah. Stevie Johnson is behind us.
He's a doubles player, right?
No, singles. College player as well. He's got a mustache.
Pretty cool guy.
He got a wild card challenger winner into the main draw, so he doesn't have to qualify. I think he's maybe injured or something like that. He's playing Taylor Fritz in the first round.
Oh, that's it.
American versus American.
American, dang. So who are you thinking is going to take it this year at the U.S. Open?
You know,
what's your picks?
I think Joko.
Yeah.
I think Joko, and the main reason why I think it's kind of like a coin toss between him and Alcaraz, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I think
too.
Medvedev might sneak his way in there and play like maybe a 5-setter against one of these guys, but I think those are the contenders. But the reason I say Djokovic is because, I mean, number one last week, he proved it in Cincinnati that he's the fucking GOAT.
Yeah.
By winning that fucking epic match.
Right.
And towards the end, Alcaraz, his hand started cramping.
Oh,
and
really?
there's at some point where he was like stretching and he hit a two-handed forehand in like in the third set tiebreaker or something like that, because like his right hand, and I'm like, yo, it's not as big as like what happened at French Open when he was like completely cramping, but it's like that's such a bad sign, and like that was 2 out of 3 sets. And here's the thing with Djokovic, he can go all fucking day.
Yeah, he can.
Like, this guy does not give up. And even when it looks like he's gonna lose, he just figures out a way to win so many times.
He does, yeah. I think that's probably a pretty good guess at Djokovic. I was also thinking, so is Djokovic and Alcaraz on opposite sides of the bracket? Or have they set the bracket yet?
Yeah. There's 1 and 2 seed, so they're opposite.
Yeah, they're opposite. You know, there's always guys like, is Zverev in it? He's out.
I mean, I saw him practicing. He's good. Here's the thing. Good is not good enough.
Yeah.
Good.
So you think Medvedev, Alcaraz, and Djokovic are just the elite?
Yeah, I don't even.
FAA?
No shot.
No shot. FAA.
No, bro, he's probably gonna lose like fucking first or second round again. He always does this at the U.S. Open.
What about Big Foe?
He can. I don't know what the draw is, so this is just kind of like throwing it out.
Yeah.
But I can see him making like a quarters run.
Okay. Yeah,
maybe
I would say
semis. Because here's the thing, with him, he's got home court advantage.
Right.
And in New York City.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
It's gonna be lit.
You want home court advantage
Yeah,
when you're playing here.
yeah.
The crowd gets so fucking rowdy sometimes. The court will be on one side, and you'll hear it on the complete other side.
Yeah,
and
right.
especially in these like packed stadiums.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like he's gonna be pulling in a lot of people. So
Yeah.
with that, with that also playing into account, I guess, a semis run would be
Semis run.
could be on the horizon. I mean, one match at a time. Because one thing that I don't like to really call too much as well. I mean, it's fun to kind of speculate,
Yeah.
especially if you gamble.
Yeah.
I don't. Do you do?
Only in New York, just to
Only in New
make like these days a little bit more fun and they go by faster. Like I'll put money on some of these.
That's a great idea, especially on days you're just waiting around. You just throw $20 here, $20
Yeah,
here.
DraftKings, like that's yeah.
That's funny.
I
So-
don't have a bookie or anything, but DraftKings, just for fun.
Yeah, but so the thing about speculating is you could talk about how they're playing on court and their performance, but at the end of the day, there's also these are people and they have the life on court and off the court.
Right.
And if life off the court can get in the way sometimes,
Especially in tennis, where it's just so hyper focused sport.
you never get subbed out. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. You carry everything with you.
Yeah.
And so, I would love, so take that with a grain of salt, whenever you hear speculations.
Yeah.
There's also one bad day, I don't know, it's so easy to, you need to be really mentally tough, and all of these players are mentally tough.
Right.
Anybody who's playing here. But some are, they're stronger than others, and sometimes your mental can be a little bit get a little bit sensitive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
You see players. I mean, my friend saw Tsitsipas broke a racket during practice.
Oh really?
So one of my friends picked that up, and so it's yo, why are you he's breaking your racket? I don't know.
Something's not. He's just frustrated with something.
Maybe Badosa and him they're on a break. She's listen, baby.
You heard it first.
We're in New York.
Listen, baby.
She's Spanish.
I can be Greek, whatever.
Hey, ¿qué pasa, Stefanos? They focus on Duas Hofen.
Dude, whatever happened with Team?
He's playing Bublik in the first round.
Oh, he's here.
Yeah.
I feel like he was
He's been
this
struggling.
crazy player for a couple of years.
He won it. He won it 2020.
Yeah.
Literally when you started.
And that was the match. That was the match when I started Sports Journal Fans. It was Team. I think it was Team Zverev, right?
Yes.
That's what it was.
I remember that was actually. I used to gamble and I won $1,000 off of that one.
Oh really?
Because I bet on Team to win the tournament before it started.
That was a crazy match.
Yeah.
So crazy.
It was 10-8 or something in the third.
Yeah.
Or fifth set tiebreaker. It was so tense.
Zverev had it. Zverev had it in the bag. And then
Zverev with that 60-mile-per-hour serve, and then Team fucking standing all the way back here to return it. I'm like, dude. Both of them were so fucking nervous,
dude.
And they were gassed and nervous though.
Yeah.
They wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
They wanted it so bad, and Team just. I had Team's dad on the podcast.
Really?
I went to Austria to visit a friend, and so I knew Offner. I had a mutual friend with Offner, so I hit Offner up. He's another Austrian player. I'm like, hey, I'm in Vienna. I'm looking to play some tennis. Where's your club, or do you know anybody I can play with? I played with him when he came to New York one time, double, so he knows I'm a solid player.
Yeah.
So it's oh yeah, go here. This place called Treiskirchen, and it's a little bit outside of Vienna, 45 minutes. He's like, oh, it's kind of far. I'm like, no, 45 minutes, that's fine. I drive an hour to Long Island to practice.
Right.
So I'm like, who's gonna be there? It's gonna be Ricardo Boletti and Wolfgang Thiem. I'm like, oh shit. Wolfgang Thiem is gonna be here?
Just name Wolfgang, that just says it all.
Wolfgang. That's how they say it in German. So I pull up. So he's like, okay, go there Wednesday morning. I pull up. I don't have listen, I brought my shoes.
Yeah.
I was backpacking. I had to carry it, so I couldn't bring a racket.
Yeah.
On these small, European flights.
Sure.
So I pulled up. I was wearing tennis clothes. I didn't have a racket, and I'm like, hey. And he's like, the guy's like, hey. I'm like, I'm here to play tennis. And he's like, who the fuck?
Yeah.
He didn't say it, but in his head, he's like,
He's
who
like,
the fuck is
yeah,
this
like,
guy?
who is this guy? He like wants to come play with me. He doesn't have a racket.
Especially because I'm American,
Yeah.
and this is like outside of Vienna. This is not a tourist spot.
Yeah.
And he's just so confused. And I'm like, I'm friends with Offner. He told me to come, and then he's like, what? And then he called him. He's like, oh, okay. He told me about it. He's like, he mentioned it, but he never told me which day you were coming. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. So what do you want to do? I'm like, I play a match, rent a lesson. So I'm like, sure, a lesson or something, or like train with the guys, because there's some ITF pros who were there training. They're like, got a few points. I borrowed a racket, played a little bit, but so Wolfgang wasn't there at the time. It was this guy Rico. So I'm like, shit, I really wanted to run into Wolfgang and get an interview with him at the club.
Right.
That was the goal. He wasn't there. I'm like, shit, okay. I go back, I went skiing, and then I'm back. I'm like, I want to play again. He's like, all right, come this day. I'm like, okay, cool. And Wolfgang was supposed to be there again.
No.
And he wasn't there. He's like, no, he's at the other academy with the other people. So I'm like, shit, So then I ended up, I played a match against like this one guy. I lost, I think, like 6-2. And then I got Wolfgang. So then I just reached out. I'm like, yo, can we do a virtual interview? So we hopped on a Zoom call. And landed it. And then I'm gonna have Kovacevic. He's an American player.
Yeah, I know that name.
He grew up in New York. He's from Manhattan. He was a ball boy for the U.S. Open as well.
No way.
And then I played against him when we were like 14 years
I've
old.
got actually, I don't know. You probably had podcasts about being a ball boy and whatnot.
A little bit.
It's like a secret society. Like, what? How do you become a ball boy? Like, is there hazing? Is there like?
So the way you become
there's for sure a pecking order. Like, there's like.
The way you become a ball boy or ball girl or ball person,
right?
Because we're all people. We're not all necessarily boys or girls. We want to be inclusive, ball people. It says on the credential as well, ball people.
Ball people.
We'll use the official term. So the way you become a ball person is in June. They have tryouts, usually like the third week of June.
Yeah.
They do a little bit of advertising. You could usually just like Google it and find it online.
Yeah.
And so when the tryouts, you'll have maybe like 300-400 people show up, and they only take about 100.
Really?
And back when I tried out, we were throwing the balls. So they wanted to see if you could throw, if you could run.
Oh, I was just about to say this because I've seen some of these ball people now.
Yeah.
I'm like, like you can't even scoop up a ground ball. Like, what is going on?
So yo, Zikos, yo, this is perfect timing. This guy is a fucking ball boy legend.
Right here?
Yes.
I like hear fucking voices on my,
Yo, so we're talking
Actually,
about
he
ball.
kind of looks familiar. Maybe he looks familiar. What's up,
You
Parker?
have definitely seen this guy before.
Yeah, because I used to be on Ash all the time.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
This is Zikos,
Yeah, so this is me. I am Nick,
I was just asking
Nick.
him,
ball boy legend.
regular guy.
regular guy, yeah. So I'm on like the broadcast side of everything. I work for ESPN.
Awesome.
And I've been to a bunch of ATP tournaments. I've done 8 US Opens and things like that. So I ran into him and we were kind of talking about it. And I was like, dude, I'd love to come on your podcast and talk a little bit about it. And so I was asking him, what does it take to be a ball boy? Like, is it a secret society? And then he was starting to get into it. And then he saw you and he's like, we got to get.
Yeah. I mean, first off, I grew up playing tennis here. This is where I learned how to strike balls. Thankfully, I live 15 minutes away in Forest Hills, very close to this place. So I just grew up playing tennis here. And then it was a thing that kids used to do. It would just be like an automatic. You would have summer camp, and then you would just transition into being a ball person. So you would have people from all around Eastern, from around the country, from around the world, really, that would come, athletic. Been here for decades, some people, families.
Yeah, I've seen some grown men
Yeah,
out there, like
yeah,
30
yeah.
years old. I'm like,
And
Bro,
it,
they're 60, 70.
yeah.
60,
And it was
70-year-old
grind.
guys.
It was a grind. You had to be good. You had to work hard. You had to really kill yourself to get even some decent courts.
right.
It was hard,
I got shit courts. I never got Ash in 4 years.
really.
Never.
4 years? Bro, you never got it.
I never got it.
You never got an Ash.
No.
You've been on Ash.
Yeah,
Bro, this guy,
I'm pretty sure I've
this
seen
guy
it.
has a bed on the side of Ash because like he goes to sleep and then they call him in the morning. He's like, all right.
I mean, listen, I love this is the best 2.5 weeks in the world. I tried very, very hard to just work hard every point. Like it was just fun.
Yeah.
Especially throwing the ball when we threw the ball.
Yeah, so we were
Things have
talking about that.
changed,
So
you know?
when we tried out, we had to throw the ball. They wanted to see if you could throw, catch, run, and you also knew the general rules of tennis. So they would do the first tryouts, make the first cut. They would do callbacks in July, and then they do a little bit. They do it again. They do like small tests, just kind of like throw.
Yeah.
They're a little bit more critical,
Right.
and then they make the final cuts. And so in the beginning, you would be brought in during the qualies, and you could still get cut in the qualies.
Good point. It was like a big thing.
Yeah, they would cut
Qualies
people
would be
in
like,
the qualies.
oh, maybe you get in, maybe you don't. Like it was exciting. You wouldn't find out till the end of the qualies if you got your bag, which is the rest of your like polo outfit.
Yeah.
Because if you were a rookie,
The rookies only got a shirt.
Yeah, they didn't give you like shoes and pants, so you had to wear your own. And like if you made it, like you saw bags lined up with names on it, and they're like, oh, you made it, here you go. Or some people didn't.
Dang.
Dude, people were
That's
crying.
awesome. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It's a big thing.
Yeah, I wonder how they do it now. I'm sure not like that.
I think they definitely get the whole uniform from day one.
They get the whole uniform. They got bags as well, backpacks.
Backpacks, cool. Listen,
Yeah,
Polo
like
does a great job.
over $1,000 worth of polo gear.
Polo does a great job. They have fantastic. I mean, I still have all of my.
Oh,
You
same.
can imagine, and
What-
it's still in great
So
shape.
what year did you start, and how old were you?
I was definitely 14. I think 2005. 2005 would probably check out. I did 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah, 15
So,
years.
you're not doing it obviously this year.
Unfortunately, not. It's been
Last year.
my third year not doing it.
Okay, yeah. We were for sure on Ash together then.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah, I was the
believe it.
cameraman on Ash. And,
Where in Ash? In the pit?
On the ground, on the floor.
Which
The handheld,
position?
like, right by the umpire chair.
Oh yeah. Of course. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's small world, bro. You know, small
it
world.
Small world. Well,
You should try out. You should do the tryouts of it.
I don't know, man. I've seen they put in a lot. Some of those kids, man, or people, they're putting in a lot of effort, just running across the court to pick up that ball.
Jimmy Butler was a ball boy yesterday
was.
for that All-Star game. That was pretty funny.
Was he? They
Yeah,
had him out there.
Jimmy Butler and Alcaraz are tight every time. Alcaraz plays Miami Open, but Jimmy Butler's in his box.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I wondered what the Jimmy Butler Alcaraz connection was, but he played with Tiafo, I think, in that
Yes, last night.
yesterday.
Yeah, probably Nike.
Yeah.
Probably facilitated
just-
it, or just also top athletes.
Yeah, top
They're in their
athletes
own world.
and the USTA again. They're trying to blow up tennis. They're really trying to make tennis bigger than, kind of what it is. That on a more American level rather than national. National is it's huge. I had no idea how big tennis was until I went to Roland Garros,
Really?
and I was like, wow. Yeah, because in America we have so many different sports,
That's a good point.
and and our main sports are football, baseball,
Have you ever
basketball.
played tennis?
I've tried pickleball. I'm picking up pickleball.
Don't get me
Let's not get
started
into it.
on
We're not talking
pickleball.
about this is not involved in
I need
the
a
whole
few drinks
conversation.
before I'm going to start talking about
That
pickleball.
is,
So that's going to be rowdy.
listen, I'm sure it's fun. I hope everybody loves it. I'm a tennis
I'm not
purist,
gay, personally.
Tennis purist.
I'm a tennis purist. I'm sport, but I haven't played it. If I played it, I'd probably fall in love with it.
Is pickleball ruining the game?
I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm happy if people play more racket sports. Grow the sport eventually.
It is a win in the racket sport thing, but the only issue comes is taking over tennis courts for it, because
Oh yeah, a lot of tennis courts are being taken out and replaced with pickleball courts.
yeah,
In
and,
public.
Yeah, they'll put up lines on the court and just roll in a net and stuff. Whereas
Yeah.
padel, for example, or ping pong, there's no beef because you're in your own space.
Yeah.
They're coming into our space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're in your space.
I covered a tournament. It was APP, Association of Pickleball Perverts tournament. Is a pro tournament, and they held it here at the U.S. Open. This is probably in July,
Yeah.
and I got to see some of the pros play. It was-
Yeah, I was in
the
a.
pros are legit. The pros are legit, but
It's a sport like any sport, bro.
Yeah.
It's like the hacky sack guys.
cornhole.
Cornhole. Those
The
guys.
hacky sack
those
guys.
Those guys are good, man. There's a technique.
Yeah,
You can't just the darting too.
There's a technique.
The darts. Have you guys ever watched darts?
Darts are
Oh
insane.
my God, these guys are unbelievable.
Pinpoint.
And then they get a 180 across, like yeah. I'm like, yes,
How
I
do-
could get behind this.
I've talked to some the British cameramen because darts are huge in England,
Sure.
in the UK.
Sure.
And I've talked to some of them. They're like, mate, it's one of my favorite sports to work. He's like, the atmosphere here is amazing. Everyone's drunk, and like when everyone like when you're throwing darts, like the crowd is hyped.
It's a party.
That's funny.
So,
All right, guys. Amazing being
hey,
here.
nice meeting you.
You know, I
I'm
think
glad to finally
let's- you know,
formally introduce myself and
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a conversation with you.
that's a good stop. Let's on the count of three, we're ending the episode.
1, 2.
On the count of three, we're gonna say stay tipsy.
Gangsters only.
We
Okay.
got Parker. What's your last name?
Rattan.
Rattan.
Yeah, Rattan. Just say Parker.
Rattan.
No, just say Parker from behind the broadcast.
We got Parker from behind the broadcast. We got Nick
Yep. From
from
Queens, New York.
Queens, New York, and you got yours truly, Mr. Tipsy Tennis Podcast himself. On the count of three, we're gonna say stay tipsy. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Stay tipsy.
baby. Cool. That was fun.
That's fun.
Awesome. We talked a lot about a lot of different things.
Oh,
It's
man.
good. It's a tipsy happy day. I hope you guys are tipsy.